May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to QuantBox Daily. Today is December the 8th. Hello, my babies. All right, so quickly, I just want to tell you, quantbox.co. Head over to quantbox.co if you want to get this amazing quantitative analytical tool. Currently, the 1 week trial is just $7.90. Okay, so this video is brought to you by QuantBox. So we use QuantBox to identify fundamental opportunities and then match that with technical setups. Okay, so right now, slightly different from our previous way of doing things. Taking a look at the dashboard, what's nice about the dashboard is you've got this beautiful list of top buys and top sells. We'll go through that in a second. You can see there's your strongest trends as analyzed by QuantBox. What's also nice is this market heat map. So what you can do, and this is updated regularly, is you can take a look and see what your biggest movers and biggest losers are, well, biggest winners and biggest losers. So right now, for the session of Asia, we've seen Kiwi yen move the most. If we take a look down here, pound Kiwi going down the most. So blue is green and red is red, right? So the most bullish pair at the moment is Kiwi yen from the Asia session. The most bearish pair from the session is pound Kiwi, right? So what's nice about this specific heat map is that it updates on a regular basis. So if you're looking to scalp, or even if you're looking to add positions to an already trending currency pair, this is your friend, okay? Beautiful little map over here. Now, let's take a look at economic news. What I like about this is that you get all your economic news in one place. You can change your impact. I've taken low and none out because I find that we always like scrolling through stuff every single session. Let's just take a look and see. So today in the current session, we've got some high and medium impact news out of, well, some Australia data coming out. I think it came out already. These items here already have passed. Okay. So coming up in the Euro session, we got some medium and high tier news, or some medium tier news out of the the Eurozone and Spain. And then we got some initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims, and jobless claims 4-week average. Okay, that's high impact. Positive, risk off. Negative, risk on. Why? Because if it's positive, then the Fed's like, well, there's room to tighten, increasing interest rates, right? Money expensive, stocks down. So supply and demand, right? So pay attention to that. Remember, good news for the economy is bad news for risk, basically, right? So risk off, dollar strong. Okay, cool. Also, dollar strong, potential increase in interest rates. Then looking down here, we got some Swiss news coming out later, some Euro area news coming out. This is more towards like, this is also the 8th. This is way later in the session, and some China news later today. Okay, cool. So most important today is some job stuff and then some Spain and Euro data. Cool. All right, fantastic. So what are we going to do today? Well, in terms of our score chart summary, this is quite nice as well. It gives you the list of all the currencies. You can have it at a glance, you can see exactly where everything sits across all their scores, right? Now, you can see right now, we've got USD CAD as a strong buy. I'll go through that in a moment. We've got Kiwi CAD as a strong buy as well. Going all the way down, strong sell, Euro Kiwi, Aussie Kiwi, and Pound Kiwi. Let's take a look at those. But before we jump into that, I just want to go over yesterday's close of USD CAD. So yesterday morning, we spoke about price making it up to the weekly M4. Okay, I updated a video at New York for this, and I said, you know, if you find on the H1 time frame that price breaks support and support becomes resistance, then that might be a good idea to get out. So you can see here, price came down, broke that support, and there you can see that we're touching that resistance, right? So if you got out at the New York session because of that price breaking that support, bravo. If you use the lower time frame yesterday, then what you could have done is you could have seen that price broke out of this range and then price came up and closed at that resistance. And that could have been your way out as well. All right. So we're out of the USD CAD trade. Now we're getting a strong buy on QuantBox. And looking at the charts right now, technically, I'm not seeing it. Okay. I'm not seeing it. Fundamentally, fair enough. So I'm still a bull fundamentally, but technically, I'm not seeing it. Right? I'm not seeing price making higher highs and higher lows at the current moment. I'm seeing consolidation. So we're going to pause on that. Looking at the H1, you can also see here from an H1 perspective, consolidation. Right now, there might be a situation where you could continue scalping this up because of the signal you're getting on QuantBox. And so in which case, if that was the situation, you'd simply be looking for higher highs and higher lows on a lower time frame chart and doing some scalping in that space, right? But in terms of longer term trends, longer term trades, currently, I'm not going to sell USD CAD because it's bullish fundamentally, but I'm not going to buy it right now either. Taking a look at the next strong buy, which is Kiwi CAD. Now, Kiwi CAD is something that we're absolutely paying attention to in terms of right now, from a buying perspective, price pulling back down to support. Sure, you've got a bullish trend. On the daily, though, what I find very interesting about the move on Kiwi CAD is we've been bouncing off of the 5 and 8 EMAs. You can't see them right now because I haven't got them on my chart. But if you had to put a zigzag on here and say, well, have you actually got a trend? Or has this entire thing really just been price moving up? Now, take a look at this. So this zigzag right now representing peaks and troughs. You can see it when there's a trough, it moves up, peak goes down, right? So over here, notice how this entire thing is almost like one move. We're paying very careful attention to what happens when Kiwi CAD gets up here. And then, looking for opportunities where price breaks support and support becomes resistance on an H4 time frame. Going to capture the profit taking on Kiwi CAD. Not sure when that's going to take place. Certainly not now, okay? But something that we certainly are paying attention to. In terms of continuing to buy Kiwi CAD, can you do so? Well, looking at the 4-hour candle for London, it hasn't closed at support. So I wouldn't suggest doing that right now. You want to see price closing at support from a 4-hour perspective, and then you could potentially be taking this up to the weekly profit-taking zone, monthly profit-taking zone, okay? If you don't like the 4-hour, I prefer the 4-hour candle closing at support. If you don't like that, if that isn't your bag, then what you're looking for is you're looking for higher highs and higher lows on the lower time frames, okay? Now, again, I prefer basing everything off of H4 or daily because there you're going to get much stronger signals, okay? So this is still bullish. Price closing at support, 21 EMA, support down here. If price makes a higher high and pulls back to support over there, fine. Presently, still waiting for that setup, okay? Taking a look at your strongest sells, Euro Kiwi. Let's take a look at that. Now, currently, we're out of position. We've got no indication of bullishness. Price has not broken resistance. Resistance has not become support. Taking a look over here, you can see that we moved up. Now, in terms of a 4-hour candle, I don't have this 4-hour candle closing at resistance. So what you're looking for is if you're going to continue selling Euro Kiwi, you're looking for lower lows and lower highs, okay? I would prefer that setting up on the H4 time frame. But if you are using lower time frames, then what you're looking for in M15 is lower lows and lower highs. Okay, recognize that you are currently out of position, and this is looking rather neutral from a technical perspective. Okay. Next strong sell is Aussie Kiwi. Down here. Okay, great. So from a 4-hour perspective, you can see here, we have come up and closed at this resistance over here. However, the 4-hour candle is not at resistance. So once again, if you're looking for sells on the Aussie Kiwi, you're waiting for price to close at resistance. Okay, nice. And again, from a lower time frame perspective, you could be looking for lower lows and lower highs. So on your M15, lower low, lower high, you can sell that. Okay. You got the fundamentals, you just need the technicals. Or of course, if price does make a lower low, lower high, if price comes up and closes that resistance up here, just make sure price is neutral when that happens. You could then go into 5 minutes and just verify the lower low, lower high, or the M1 off of that, right? But again, I do prefer using my H4 time frame. If price had to come up and close at this resistance again, right, in terms of this being a range, price close at resistance, I would just go lower time frame, verify that lower low, verify that lower high, and then take that trade. But remember, you are out of position, so you certainly are most likely looking to scalp it down to there if you get the bearish confirmation. Okay. Then we've got the pound Kiwi also coming through. This, of course, was the biggest loser of the of the Asia session. You can see here price currently coming down. Your H4 candle, this London candle has not closed at resistance, but you could get a continuation of bearishness on your pound Kiwi. And so what you're looking for there is you're looking for price to close at resistance. Now that could be on the H1 time frame, or you're looking to sell lower lows and lower highs on M15. So as price comes down and makes a lower low, pulls back up, lower high. There's an example of resistance. The 21 EMA is an example of resistance. But when price comes down, just make sure it hasn't closed at support. Okay, verify your support. What you want to do is make sure price has made a lower low before it comes up to make a lower high. Okay. Again, recognize where your position is. Now you've come off of the weekly pivot point earlier. And, you can see here, daily M3, be aware of what price does when it gets down target. If it makes that far, be aware of what price does when it gets down to the support over here. Okay, if you get the opportunity to sell that. So those are the trades that QuantBox is saying are the most bullish and most bearish. Out of all of those, I think pound Kiwi is the most interesting. Okay, but again, I need to see price closing at resistance. Now, yesterday I updated on the New York session on the euro dollar and how I didn't buy that. I'm happy I didn't buy that. My reason again to go through that was because price came up and closed at resistance at the New York Open. Okay, not a fan of that. That's like, if this was so bullish, why didn't prices break resistance? So resistance could become a support and we can go all the way up, right? I realized that there was a beautiful trade up to the daily target, but I need to make sure I follow certain rules when I take my trade. So I didn't take that trade. I'm pretty happy about it because right now price is just stuck in this consolidation nonsense. Also, pound dollar, I also didn't take. And my reason there was on the H1 time frame that I saw price closing at resistance on the bias candle. Okay. And you can see there, probably a good decision because that's consolidating as well. So going back to today's big trade, well, not big trade, but the one that I think stands out the most, pound Kiwi. Okay, pound Kiwi, you're looking for pullbacks, you're looking for price to come back. Now, once it's finished making this, if it pulls back to resistance, verify, just make sure, like, if let's just say price comes back and closes at this resistance over here, for example. Okay, so all you do is you see price closing there, just jump into a 5 minute. Okay, jump into a 1 minute. Just make sure you got a lower low, lower high. And if you get the lower low, lower high, you've got like some indication of bearishness. You're not making higher highs and higher lows. When you've got a lower low, lower high somewhere, then you could look at taking that trade, right? And most importantly, when price closes, make sure it has not closed at support. Okay. Make sure that if you're setting a lower high, it's because it's preceded by a lower low. All right. Now, again, if you've got QuantBox, you're able to go into your market heat map and you're able to continue paying attention to what's moving the most as you go through the session. What's nice about that is that you either find yourself adding positions to trades that are moving quite nicely. Okay. You suddenly start seeing this shuffle and you can say, oh, okay, so I've currently got maybe Aussie Swissy moves up the ladder, right? You suddenly see that Aussie Swissy is moving nicely during the session. You jump into a chart and you can do some scalping, adding some higher lows to the M15 chart, M5 chart, or M1 chart. Similarly, if you're looking at the bearish trades, you can then see that certain pairs are moving down. You can jump into charts and look at adding lower lows and lower highs to that. This is a very, very nice tool, this market heat map. Again, it updates on a regular basis. All right, so that's today's session. Beyond what I've just shared with you now in terms of pounds, the top pairs that I mentioned based on the score chart summary. Beyond that, I went through all the charts. Nothing's really standing out right now in terms of opportunities for much longer term trades. I will continue keeping an eye on that, except for the ones I mentioned where, potential reversals coming up in the nearby future could be quite lucrative. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, keep an eye on your score chart summary. Okay, in terms of your strong sells, your strong buys. Remember everything on lower time frames. Look for your verification. Keep an eye on your market heat map, and perhaps you get some nice scalps off of that. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.